I'm a lesbian. I cheated on my girlfriend with a man. Afterwards, I realized I'm still completely gay, and I have no idea why I did it. Almost 4 years ago, my girlfriend went on a month-long trip with her parents. We had been dating for about 10 months. A few days before she left, I had begun a depressive episode. I have bipolar type 2, so my mood highs and lows can last for quite some time, sometimes up to a few weeks of constant depressive feelings. My hypomanic episodes usually last for a short period of time, maybe a few hours to a few days. This depressive episode was likely triggered by my sadness of her going to be away for that long and knowing I'd be missing her. She is definitely my rock and a mood booster. During this depressive episode, I was invited to a party. At this party, I got drunk and a male friend of mine, let's call him Gil, was also drunk and got flirty with me. He is very feminine, not like he's gay, but just very pretty looking and has a soft demeanor and is never overly masculine. Gil knew I had a girlfriend, but he admitted to me that he had always found me really sexy and wished I wasn't a lesbian so he'd have a chance. Normally, I would have been pissed and chewed him out for fetishizing me and assuming I would be attracted to him if I just didn't have this pesky affinity for women. Strangely, I wasn't mad. I was even flattered. I started thinking about what it would be like to have sex with a man, even though I was so proud of my lesbian identity and my gold star status. Lesbian term for a woman who's never had sex with a man, generally thought to be ultra lesbian because you were never tempted by penis, nor mistakenly thought you were straight. I started thinking about the feelings of compulsory heterosexuality I had in junior high and high school, forcing myself to think a feminine-looking and acting boy wasn't that bad. So I didn't have to give credit to the overwhelming feelings of my desire for women. In my drunk state of mind, I wondered if maybe I was bi and was just repressing it. I decided I would give Gil a chance. We got a ride to his place, and as soon as we were inside the door, we were making out passionately, hands all over each other. He would stop every few minutes and ask if it was still all right. Was I feeling okay? I would tell him yes, and we would continue. Eventually, we were naked, and I had my hand around his. Gil told me I didn't have to, and asked if was I sure. I said yes, and I gave him. I had done it before, but it was a dildo attached to a harness that was attached to my partner. I even let him come in my mouth, something I had found so dehumanizing, and I followed it. Not a bad taste. He was vegan and drank a lot of water. I was worried it would taste like bleach because I had seen memes about that before. He ate, which to be honest was mediocre. I mentally noted women were much more aware of what to do and didn't need any directions or gentle pointers. I wasn't able to come from it. I always am with my partner, but it did turn me on and get me ready for us to have penetration after he had me for a bit. He had pretty good finger technique because he was a bass player. Gil put on a condom and I let him me. Doggy, missionary, cowgirl. Missionary was a bit too intimate, and I asked to try another after 5 minutes. He my stomach, and when he left to grab a towel, something else I had only heard of in memes, I thought about my girlfriend for the first time since he hit on me at the party. I was overwhelmed with all these conflicting feelings and felt guilt creeping up. I started to cry, but stopped myself as soon as he came back. He asked if anything was wrong, but I said no. I'm just red from being sweaty. He didn't seem to buy it, but let it go. We cuddled for a bit, then I got dressed and asked him to drive me home around 4 a.m. My girlfriend was leaving for the airport at 8 a.m. and came by my place to say goodbye. I would have slept through her knocking on my door and calling my on-vibrate phone if she hadn't come around and knocked on my window. We kissed and cuddled for a bit on my couch. She had even brought me flowers. I was quiet and distant, still overwrought with emotions and guilt, but I told her it was just because of my depressive episode. She bought it and gave me an extra long hug and kissed goodbye and told me I was so strong and that she would miss me so much, that I could call her anytime, and the long-distance fee didn't matter. As soon as she left, I broke down in tears and cried myself to sleep and slept for 10 hours. When I woke up, I cried again. I am a person who never cries unless I'm pushed to a breaking point mentally. I felt so dirty, so evil for betraying a woman I loved, and so confused as to why the fuck I even did it. confused as to what my sexuality was. Checked my phone and saw a Snapchat from Gil saying he had fun, hoped I did too, and to let him know if I wanted to talk about it. I replied immediately, asking if we could meet up. He said he'd pick me up. We started off by talking, me telling him how confused I was, and him telling me he was pretty shocked it even happened. Then we ended up making out. I think I was the one who leaned in first. We had sex in his car. I cried afterwards and he held me. He looked guilty and said he'd give me space. 2 days later, I asked if we could get coffee. Then we went on a hike and made out on an overlook. A week later, we smoked weed in a field and had sex. We went to a concert together and had sex at his place afterwards. The fifth and final time we hooked up was a week before my girlfriend was to return home. I had stopped feeling guilt by the coffee date. After we had sex the last time, we were cuddling, and Gil flippantly mentioned how nice it would be if I were his girlfriend and how I'm his dream girl. It made me sick to my stomach to hear him say that. I made up an excuse to leave and booked it. He knew he had fucked up and texted me to say sorry. I told him it was okay, but I needed to end it because I did not expect actual feelings to be involved in this experiment and thought we were just having fun. He agreed he had overstepped his bounds. How fucked up is that? Makes me feel like a monster thinking about it. We are still currently friends, but the dynamic is so different and we're definitely not as close as we used to be. The guilt I felt returned as soon as my girlfriend came back. Our relationship dynamic has not changed, and she's still none the wiser. She even mentions to me how it would be okay if I wanted a fling on the side, since I've only had sex with one person. The one person is her. I still feel guilty to this day if I think about my affair. I'm not sure the feeling will ever leave, and I know I don't deserve to not feel guilty. I haven't mentioned it to my therapist because I don't want them judging me. Stupid, I know, and I certainly haven't talked to any of my other friends about it. Only Gil and I know it's happened because he respects me too much to tell anyone else and expose my little foray into bisexuality and adultery. I still love my girlfriend so much, and I plan to marry her. I want to spend the rest of my life with her. After having the affair, I came to realize how truly unsatisfying the sex with Gil was, and how it only felt good because I was horribly depressed, lonely, and looking to self-harm in a way that didn't involve cutting myself. When I wasn't f***ing Gil during my GF's absence, I was starving myself and sleeping because I was too sad to do anything else. I am still a lesbian. I never want to have sex with a man. Have never found a man appealing since. And now I don't even see what I saw in him at the party that convinced me to f*** him and cheat in the first place. I am still so confused about what the hell I was feeling at that time that drove me to do such a horrible thing. I hated cheaters before I did this. And I still find trouble sympathizing with cheaters who aren't in a toxic, lifeless, or abusive relationship. No offense to you all. I obviously can't and won't judge you. I am in a perfectly amazing relationship with the woman of my dreams, and I still decided to have sex with a man not once, but 5 times. Why? That's all I think when I look back at that brief period of my life. I sort of know why it started. Self-harm in a way, and I was drunk and making a poor decision because of my impaired and depressed mental state. But I still don't feel like I fully understand why I actually went through with it, and why I didn't stop sleeping with him until he woke me up from this strange delusion by making a casual comment about wishing he and I were a couple. I really need to talk about this in therapy.